Good evening, everybody. Those of you who are joining, welcome to our presentation this evening on budgeting. Let's have a word of prayer, and then after that, I'll do a brief introduction, and then we're going to go right ahead into the presentation. Let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, we thank you for this opportunity we have to learn together on different life skills. I pray, Lord, that you would give us wisdom tonight. May Holy Spirit be with us, and as we discuss how to handle the money that you have blessed us with, earning and receiving, that you would guide and direct us. Be with each one presenting, be with those listening, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. So tonight we have 3 presentations that will be given. Each one of them is going to be about 15 minutes long, and then at the end will be a time for Q&A. So if you have questions, do write them down, and we'll ask them at the end, whether it's pertaining to what Pastor Micah and Wynny present, or whether it's pertaining to what Craig and Farida present, or myself and Aiko. So each one of us are going to present a different method of budgeting. Each one of us do different styles. We're going to present what we do. And we recognize that, you know, that all of them are at, there's more than 3 styles that we're presenting tonight. They're all equally valid. Each one of us have chosen what we do for various reasons. There's pros and cons that we have. And so, you know, we're just going to share with you the different ways that we, Pastor Micah and Wynny budget, Craig and Farida budget, myself and Aiko budget, and how we track our monthly expenses, etc. So without too much further introduction, I'm going to hand over to Pastor Micah and Wynny, and they're going to be our first one, who are going to share with us this evening the method that they use.
Okay. Hey guys.
Hey everyone, how are we all doing today?
Good.
What we're going to do is take this opportunity to share some of the stuff that we do when it comes to budgeting. Now, everybody likes to spend, but there's so much joy in saving. So take it away, Wynn.
Okie doke. Okay. So I've kind of defined budget. So I'll go through that bit really quickly, and then we'll talk a little bit about how we specifically do it. So we've been married for 10 years now. Mm-hmm. We have gone from being students, still paying off our student loan. I think I'll be paying it off till I'm dead, to be honest, because the medical, well, I don't even want to talk about it. But we've paid off our overdrafts. I want to praise God for that. We've paid off loans that we had to take off. And it's all kind of been because we've gone through the transition of being students, needing money, to now thinking about saving and planning for the future. So we just wanted to kind of introduce you to how we managed to go through the different hurdles over the past 10 years. Mm-hmm. So kind of the first thing in our mind is this text: where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So when it comes to finances and how we think about it, everybody, I think, wants to be comfortable. Everybody probably also wants to be so comfortable that you don't really have to think about whether you do spend or you don't spend. But I think probably even the most richest of people budget and think about, how much have I got? Is this going to take me how many years? Is my money going to last me? Mm-hmm. But ultimately, money cannot be, as Adventists and as Christians and as people wanting to get to heaven, the ultimate aim in our life. Like where we spend our money, where we budget our money, it's important that God comes first. Having said that, God, I think, wants us to plan ahead. He wants us to have goals, have financial goals, and he wants us just not to let money overcome us so much that we miss things or let go of things or miss opportunities of quality time and all the other things. And he also wants us to be generous and to help other people. And you want to add anything to that?
I agree. I think money is really important in life. I mean, some people believe that money is the root of all evil, and I want to say it's not. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. But there are so many good things you can do with money, and it's just important to budget it well. Otherwise, you could be in financial difficulties.
Yeah. So we're quickly going to whiz through what a budget is, why it's necessary, and how to create a budget that best suits your needs. So if we look at the literal definition, it's an estimate of the income and expenditure for a set period of time. So it's knowing what you're coming in, what's going out. And the most important thing that we've also learned about budget is money isn't something that you like to think about, to be honest. Whether you're single, whether you're married, it's sometimes something that can cause a lot of stress, but it's something that you have to keep coming back to and reviewing. When you get a pay rise, you review your budget. Does that mean that we can spend more money on different things? When things are financially difficult, like COVID, has put a lot of pressures on us for different reasons, we have to update and review. And when we have different goals, whether it be buying one house, two houses, whether it be paying for childcare when you have children, all of those things kind of need to be reviewed. So going further from that, it's necessary because at least then you can define what your financial goal is. You know where you stand financially. You know what money's coming in. You can plan to save. And you can also try and stop spending money unnecessarily, because the amount of times every year we kind of review all of our outgoings and our insurance and go and compare the market and try and alter and adjust things, we realize, oh, wow, we can save some money here or we can save some money there. And also, it makes you feel really good when you achieve that personal goal of putting money aside for a holiday or for, I don't know, a new washing machine or all the other things that are important.
And that's important, because I think the reality is everybody likes nice things, but the worst thing to do is to increase your spending when your money increases. The best thing to do is to start saving more when your money increases. Otherwise, you could literally have a large income, but also a large outgoings, and you could find yourself living hand to mouth. And so there's some people that have millions and millions and millions of money, of pounds that they get every year, but they don't have that in the bank. It might be liquid assets, but if a pipe burst or tiles fell off their roof, they wouldn't be able to afford to fix it.
And the richest people of the world are noted to have not be spending the most money. Like, look at Bill Gates. He wears what clothes from Target, and drives a regular SUV and so forth. So it's just about being sensible so that you can see the money in the bank. So we've talked about all of that. So go into how we do things. So the most important thing is how you use a budget planner. So you first pick your application. Are you going to just do it all on paper? Are you going to pick an application that is paid versus free? Now, we like being really frugal. Maybe you could even say that we're probably like a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for, babes?
Careful with our money.
Careful with our money. So we didn't want to spend money on an app, so we found a free app to use, and that's so that we could reduce our monthly outgoings. So and also, while you do your budget planner, you also have to obviously have access to your current financial status. So get your pay slips ready, get all your bills, look at your bank statement so you know exactly what's coming in and out. So what we use is Google Sheets. It's absolutely free. All you have to do is kind of log in with your Gmail account, and I think most of us have one. And then we've used the monthly budget template, which you can see just there, and we select this. So I've literally just opened it, and I've not put any input or data, but just to show you what we do. So with our income, we put in the savings that we've got, so we know what we're working with. We put in both of our salaries, and that would be under the paycheck. We put in any other extra income that might be coming in. We'll add that in. And it will basically put your planned income at the top. And then when at the end of it, you update it as the month goes on, and it puts your actual income. And then under your expenses, you put all of your itemized billing. So obviously tithe, offering, all of that goes first, because I think we had to put ourselves in the mindset, and trust me, it was really hard when we first got married, that you give to God first.
Yes.
Because when you're a student and you're only getting like a certain amount, and a tenth of that seems like, gosh, that's a lot of money. That's like the electricity for the month. But once you get out of that mindset of, I've got, like, do I have to pay it? And you have to, trust me, God will absolutely bless you. And we can honestly testify of all the times when we've paid our tithe, and then for some reason, some more magical money will come from somewhere. Like, it's God's never let us down with tithe and offering. He's always been there.
I think also a great thing to consider is, well, if I'm completely transparent with you, I really struggled to pay my tithes over the years for lots of different reasons. Sometimes, and I use the wrong term, you don't pay your tithes, you return your tithes, because you're returning 10% of what originally belongs to God. Anyway, when I was younger, I struggled to pay my tithes because, let's just say you're getting £1,000 a month, 10% of that's £100. £100 is quite a lot of money. And when you think about all the things you could do with that, it sometimes makes you feel frustrated about giving it to God. But for us, we've realized that returning the tithe, I mean, I don't even think about it now. It's before tax. You return your tithe before tax, and God blesses us. He's blessed us some holidays. He's blessed us finding cheaper insurance. He's blessed us with loads of things. Now, believe it or not, we're not materialistic people. So if you came, well, I'm definitely not. I speak for myself. I don't like possessions. I'm not into trinkets and expensive things. I'm just a simple guy.
Micah lives by the principle as the house looks like we're either moving house or we've been robbed. And it literally is that way.
I don't think they get that. No, so I'm into clean lines. I'm not into like a house that's packed with loads and loads of things. I don't really care about that stuff. The most important thing to me is that I'm happy with my family and I've just got a simple life.
Yeah. So with our expenses, I think when we I don't even know where to go from there. So once you've put it in, if you go under the transactions, I haven't done a screenshot of that, but literally we share it with each other. So both of us can access this monthly budget. Every month it gets updated. And we put in all of our transactions and we can actually see what our planned expenses are. And it's absolutely amazing when the planned expenses, the actual expenses is less than your plan, because it means that you've got more in your savings. And it's wonderful when your actual income is more than your planned as well. But it updates it and it will say how much you've saved this month, and it just puts you in a good position. We probably review our outgoings properly once a year when we're going through or every time we have to update our insurance, our car insurance.
I think more frequently than that.
Every few months then.
I think maybe once a quarter we'll go through it and talk about how we've done. But we check our bank accounts because we use apps. So if you're with Barclays or NatWest, you can check your monthly statements and things. And we also check how much we've spent.
That's true.
And then we also talk about the receipts. So if I do a little shop in Tesco's, I tell you I've spent £50 or whatever. Yeah. And
then we have like two main accounts. One account is for all of our outgoings that we know, so direct debits, mortgage, all of that stuff. And then the other account is our expenses account. So it's so beautiful when you get to like 2 days before payday and you've realized that we've actually spent within budget, if not like better within the budget, and you've got savings. So it's taken us years to get here, and we're probably still perfecting it, but I have to say, thanks to God, we're getting there and it's going good. So we've already kind of talked about that. So the top tips are sharing with the spouse. I know it's probably, if you are married or if you're thinking of getting married, finances is one of those uncomfortable topics because sometimes I actually hate opening my NatWest account app because I think, I know I've probably spent more than I think I have today on something or this week. But in order for there to be accountability and responsibility, it's something that you kind of both need to be physically involved with.
That's right.
Secondly, we talked about it already. Always put God first. Trust me, you will be rewarded. Regularly update and review your finances. Compare the market. We live by that with all of our insurance, and we don't tend to stick to one insurance every year. We always change because we always tend to save a few £100s when we do that. And create sensible and attainable financial goals. It's not bad to have a goal to go on holiday at the end of the year. It's not bad to have a goal to, upgrade the car at the end of the year. It's only bad when you kind of put yourself in a difficult financial position in order to achieve those things.
Right.
But
I mean, I'd also say don't be mean to yourself. I mean, some people save every penny they have because their intention is to give it to the children when they're older. But it's also important for you to live your life and enjoy it too. And the Lord has blessed you with a decent job, so spend your money, just enjoy it and just budget well. So one of the things is a credit card. We don't have a credit card. Why? Because I can't manage it.
We both know our limits. So.
Right. Now, I'm not saying credit cards are bad, but I think for me, it was dangerous because, in my back pocket, it was like this wonderful gift of all this money that I could use whenever I wanted to. Top up here, top up there. Before you realize you spent thousands, you've got to pay it back.
And some people are really good at being able to pay the credit card back at the end of the month so that they get interest. But we don't like that pressure. And actually we have an account now that when we spend our money on certain things, we get interest back. So we can put in an extra few pounds into our account because we get rewards from it. So that's kind of our way of doing it instead.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's us. We're done. How do I? I can't see my mouse. Ooh, thank you. Thanks, Adam.
Okay, thank you very much, Micah and Winnie, for sharing with us. Appreciate the budgetary tips and the just the things that you've learned, like you said, from being a student to married. Now you have kids and so on. These are all good principles, and I appreciate you sharing. Thank you. Next up, we have Craig and Farida Gooden. I'm going to spotlight you, Craig, and then I guess you will. Are you sharing as well?
Yeah, we are.
All right. Once again, guys, I saw someone raise their hand. If you have questions, then do save them. We're going to have Q&As afterwards. So this is Craig and Farida. They're using Monzo. Off you go, Craig.
Okay, thank you, Adam. And thank you as well, Winnie and Mike, for the presentation so far. We budget monthly, and we use a bank card called Monzo, but we don't just use Monzo alone. We also have our main bank account. We've got a few bank accounts. We do use some credit cards as well. Not so much for the monthly expenses. I'll explain how we use them towards the end, but Monzo's really been one of the main cards that we use every month now, regarding just our monthly spending and saving as well. So
yeah, I think the reason for Monzo, choosing Monzo, was we both deal with money differently. So when we came into marriage, we realized, well, before that already, but as you're living together with someone, it's new. And then we realized that we deal differently with money, not in a bad way, but we had to figure out a way that works for us both. So instead of spending a lot of time and coming together monthly, Monzo eventually works perfect for us, because all we're doing constantly is reviewing and evaluating, reevaluating, and tweaking here and there until it suits. And at the moment, over the past few years that we've used it works perfect for us. So it's at least for me, it's less time consuming. It's constantly reviewing, because when we purchase something or we're putting money in, because it's a joint account, we can both instantly see it. So that it's almost like a silent communicator, and only when it's necessary, we actually explicitly explain to us, between us, what we should do or what we're doing.
Yeah. So. Now, before we had our child, Farida was working, so we had 2 salaries coming in. But the little man came along, blessing from the Lord, and Farida stays at home now, looking after Israel, and we live off 1 salary. So it's been important to make sure that we know how we're getting our monthly with our spending. So I'll tell you a bit about Monzo, but first we'd just like to share this text with you all. Here we go. Honor the Lord with thy substance, and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. Now that's where we want to get to. We want to make sure that we're honoring the Lord with our substance. So what is Monzo? You can go to the website, but I just thought that some of this information would be good for you. So Monzo, while it's just a bank card and it really works using your iPhone or your Android phone, it's a fully authorized bank. They're authorized in the UK by the Prudential Regulation Authority, and they're regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority as well. Your money is fully protected in Monzo by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, meaning that all of your money up to £85,000 is guaranteed by the British government. Now, while I wish I had that much in there, if I did have that in there, then that's probably just the limit that I would have, just because of the protection that's kept in there. So I probably wouldn't go over that with it. However, as you can see on the screen, that picture, it shows you everything that's happening with your daily spending. And you can also set your budget in the application itself. If you just look on the top right corner of the screen, you'll see like a little pie. And in there, you'll be able to highlight how much you want to spend for each section, whether it's groceries, bills, charity, whatever it may be. You can set those budgets within there. When you go to the website, they've got several different types of accounts that you can use. So when me and Farida started off, we both had just the standard current account. So we each had a separate card. And then when they started the joint account, we jumped at the opportunity to use a joint account card as well. And that's what we use predominantly right now. And it's excellent. They have opened up some new accounts as well, such as the premium accounts, business accounts. You've got the joint accounts there, but also accounts for 16 to 17-year-olds as well. When you go through the new cards that they're bringing out, so you've got the Monzo, which is the free one, Monzo Plus and Monzo Premium. You have to pay for the Plus and the Premium because of the other benefits that they give. But we use the Monzo free one because it just offers everything that we need. So it's a standard UK account. Your money's protected, as we've already said. You can do free UK bank transfers, which really helps when we're transitioning money from one account to another. You've also got pots that you can see in lifetime that you're able to put money into separate pots, and I'll show you how we use that shortly. That lets you identify what money is used for whichever specific purpose. Their support is excellent. You literally use their support through the phone, and they're really quick at getting back to you. And you can also utilize with Apple Pay and Google Pay. Now, the beauty with Monzo is that you get instant notifications when you make a purchase of something. And you've also got the different spending categories. I remember I walked into Halifax, one of the banks that we use, and I actually saw on their wall that Monzo and Starling Bank were rated higher than some of the banks, including Halifax themselves. And it's just based on their service quality and what they're providing. Now, I use both of these cards. We both use them. We use Monzo together, and I use Starling for petrol. But I'll explain that in a moment as well. Now, as I mentioned, you get to see your money in real time. So some of you may have noticed that when you're using your standard bank cards, whether it's HSBC, Halifax, NatWest, or whatever it may be, when you make a purchase, it's not updated straight away. And what happens is that can cause you to think sometimes that the money you're seeing on the balance is still available, when really it takes those 3 days for the balance to adjust. And then you realize at the end of the month, hold on, how come I've been overspending? Because Monzo offers you real-time updates, you can see instantly, literally when you're at the counter as soon as you've made a payment. How's your experience been with that?
That's exactly what I needed. That's what I wanted. I don't want to figure it out afterwards. So that's why I said it worked perfectly for us. And generally that's just a personal thing for us. Craig likes to go shopping. Generally, I don't, but it's better if I go because I'll just stick to what I'm going there for. Craig will see also other necessities, but then I don't think it's necessary because I want to stick to the budget.
Yeah, so even the other day I said, Farida, it's best you go shopping. And I just really deal with just the structure of how we do the budgeting. But Farida organizes the amounts that we spend, where it goes. And that's why having a joint card really helps as well. So real-time spending really helps. Separate but not but in one place. So as I was talking about pots, you can put your money into something that's called pots to avoid spending it. That allows you to save it, as they've said here, save for something in particular, or just tuck it away for the future. You can even pay your bills directly from a pot, so you know your rent, energy bills, or whatever are taken care of. Now, a separate joint account card. The joint account card helps us a lot, and for these reasons. One, accountability. We want to make sure that we're working together, that we're doing our planning together. It helps us not spend more than we earn because we're observing how much is going in. We know that we're only using the Monzo card for our daily living expenses while we're at home or when we go shopping. We know what we can afford to spend, and we review at the end of the month. But it also allows for teamwork, for us to, at the end of the month, highlight, okay, we spent some money here. What was it spent on? And oftentimes, if it's a bit too much, it's probably myself. And Frida will say, Craig, you need to check what you're doing, etc.
And then we'll say, let's not do that next month. And then, or if we see that our spending has been limited the month before, then we're like, oh, we've got some left, and then there's some wiggling room. But if it's over, if it's gone way over the budget than necessary, then we'll just try to be a bit more on point for the next month.
That's right.
Ahead.
That's right.
So it's trial and error, but at least you can't go wrong because you're using this card. You're not going into other accounts for your daily spendings.
So how we do the monthly budget actually looks like this. So we get the salary, and as I've said before, we live off my salary. So it's important for us to make sure that we're as organized. It's important for me to make sure I'm as organized as possible, to make sure that at least we've got some money at the end of the month that's left over that we can use where needed or to save. So the salary comes in, and then that goes to my HSBC account. That's the main account I've used for years. All of the direct debits, etc., they all come from that account. I find it works best to have all of the direct debits and the monthly spending coming from one account, so that if I need to do any checks or as we're doing any reviews, we're able to see, well, what money was being spent where, what the direct debits are, any standing orders, and it just allows us to organize better with it being in one account. So the main salary goes into HSBC. That's where the monthly bills, utilities, rent, phone, insurance, etc., all of those bills come from there. Then from once I've separated, the good thing with HSBC now is that they actually let you know what your monthly spend will be, because they calculate all of your bills in one go at the beginning of the month, and you can set when that's refreshed as well. So once that's calculated, I know exactly how much we have left over, and then what's left over goes into the Monzo joint account straight away. From the Monzo joint account, I have a section that's used for the monthly shopping budget, and then once that monthly shopping budget has been set, I put some money into the Starling account, which is just for petrol. Now, I've told you about using pots, but with using Starling, it was a free account. It gives the same instant update when the payments have gone through. So the benefits are like Monzo, but I prefer the way that Monzo works. But with Starling, I've got the petrol coming for the month that goes in. And there's also a pot that I've created in Starling, which gathers money that's round up. It's called a roundup pot. So if I put £5.50 of petrol in a car, then what it will do, it will put 50 pence, rounding it up to £6, and it will put the 50 pence in another pot. And over time, we found that some of that money that's rounded up does come in handy when needed. So we use Starling for petrol. And then the Monzo joint account, money that's left over after we've separated the shopping budget and the petrol, I then separate money into Monzo pots, which is also in the joint account, which we keep an eye on. The Monzo pots, this is just for example. You can create as many pots as you like, but we'd create a pot for church offering, an overflow pot, and we also have a monthly saving pot. Now, the monthly saving pot, at the end of every single month, we'll then put the money that's left over into the savings bank account, which we have, which is separate to HSBC, and it's also separate to Monzo and Starling. That bank account, we do pay for because it offers insurances for our phones, travel insurance, breakdown cover, breakdown cover from the house. And we calculated that if we paid that monthly expense for that bank account, it would be cheaper than having to pay all of those insurances if we needed to pay for them monthly separately. So yeah, the monthly savings go into the savings bank account afterwards, and anything that's left over from the monthly shopping budget goes into the monthly saving pot. which ultimately goes into the savings bank account. And the petrol for the month, anything that's left over from that goes into a savings account. So we found that using this method has helped a lot. We've been able to clear up some debt, some bills this year, some debts that we've wanted to get rid of. And it's really helped us through COVID-19 and saving and everything. For example, this year we had 2 cars. We realized we're hardly driving now. So sold my car, used that money to clear up some debts as well. And things are really working well, even though it's a bad and really unfortunate time. Just budgeting properly has really helped us. So that's our program, how we do monthly budgeting using Monzo and Starling. Did you want to say anything?
No, that was it.
Yeah. That's it from us.
Thank you, Greg and Farida. Appreciate that. That's a very clear presentation on Monzo. I've only heard about it. I've never actually looked into it at all. So thank you for sharing how that works for you and how you've made that work to your benefit. So we're going to share now. Well, Aiko's going to share. I'll just add a few words. The method that we use, that Aiko decided we use. And and we've been married now for 7 years, and we've been using this probably for the last year. We tried it maybe after being married for 3 years, but it kind of didn't. For about the last year and a half now, we've been using it. And it's called You Need a Budget, which we shorten to YNAB. You'll probably hear us saying YNAB, but it is, the method is called You Need a Budget. And I'll hand over to Aiko. Do you want me to share the screen?
Yeah. So I think it was great that Wynny went first and kind of gave an overview of budgeting and principles, and Craig and Farida had some great things to add too. But I want to share about what we do, and that is YNAB. Go ahead. Okay. So like Adam said, it stands for You Need a Budget. It's a zero-based budgeting app, browser-based app. So you can use it on your computer, on Safari or Chrome or Firefox. And it also has apps for your phone, whatever kind of phone you have. So mobile apps as well. And I think one thing about YNAB is that it's not just software or an app, but it's also an approach. So there are principles also that kind of work together with the software to make it really effective. And this is the approach, the YNAB approach. These are the 4 rules, and this is really what makes it particularly effective. Number 1 is, the first rule is give every dollar a job. It says dollar because it is American based. You can replace it with pound, give every pound a job. So a lot of people, when they think of budgeting, they're actually kind of projecting or forecasting or maybe even prophesying of, this is what the money that I'm going to have, and trying to plan based on that. And there is an element of that you do, but primarily you want to look at the money that you have right now and give every pound a job. So ask yourself, what do I need this money to do, or what does it need to be used for before I get paid again? So that's number 1. Number 2 is embrace your true expenses. And this is something that helps you to think ahead. So there are a lot of expenses that you might not see every single month. Like, for example, some insurance, you get a cut or a break if you pay every year instead of every month. So that's a true expense, but you don't want to be forgetting about it all through the year and then, oh, it's due this month, I need to pay my car insurance. Where is that all going to come from? So embracing your true expenses means putting aside a little bit every month to prepare for those true expenses. So when they come, you are already, the money is in the bank and it's ready to go. You're not scrambling. So Christmas is another, Christmas or gifts or big things that are coming up in the future. You just plan ahead and put aside a little bit every month. Number 3 is roll with the punches. And this is the element of flexibility that you really need in a budget, because life is unpredictable sometimes, and you can plan that you want these 20 pounds you have to be spent for eating out, but maybe something comes up and you realize, oh, I really want to spend 30 pounds. So YNAB gives you the flexibility, and it's one of the rules that when you get this unexpected opportunity, maybe, or expense, you can move things around in your budget to still make it work. Number 4 is age your money. And this is the idea that you shouldn't be treating your money like a hot potato. As soon as it comes in, you want to get rid of it, but you want to hold on to it a little bit longer and have a little bit, build up a buffer so that eventually you're not spending the paycheck that you get this month on this month's expenses or even next month's expenses, but it could be going towards like 2 months away. And so you have a little buffer. So that's, you're aging your money. So that's those are the 4 rules. Have anything to add?
Nope. Apart from number 4 is the best one, when you know that you're living, when you're getting paid, but you're paying February's mortgage and not November's mortgage.
Okay. So I don't know how to switch to, so we decided not to give you an insight into our actual budget, but we made up a kind of fake budget that could be realistic for somebody, maybe somebody living on a salary of $25,000 a year. So here is what the browser-based app looks like. On the left, you have your budget. So this is the budget. And then you also have your accounts. So these are the accounts. We only have a current account, a savings account. This one called Do Not Touch is where the emergency fund lives in an account that doesn't get touched. And then Vanguard is, then there are tracking accounts that aren't included in the budget necessarily, but are just there to keep track of. Vanguard is a place where you can invest, or you could even put a mortgage there and keep track of how much you still owe on your mortgage. Those are just to keep track of, but you don't necessarily spend from them every month. They're not on budget. So back to the budget screen. So we're just going to, so while you're setting your budget up, that's when you would talk about goals you have, things that are important to you, upcoming expenses, how much you have to pay for bills, direct debits, and you would set something like this up. And now we'll kind of go through our routine of what we would do at the end or the beginning of a month. So we're pretending that we are kind of closing out October and getting ready to go into November. So first of all,
just do a new month. Okay.
So first of all, you go through your budgets or your accounts and make sure everything is up to date. So here there are a couple transactions that haven't cleared yet here, but I'm looking at my account, and yes, they actually have cleared. And let me just, I want to see, I can show the running balance here. And this was, I'm going to reconcile it, is my current balance 822. Yes, so it's all reconciled, and we'll do the same for the other one. So everything is up to date. Go back to the budget, see if there's anything that is overspent, any of these categories. We have tithe at the beginning, offering, charity.
So red is overspend and green is underspend, right?
There's something left in the category, yeah. Direct debits, living expenses. So we can see that household and personal care, we overspent by £2. So we want to cover that. By just, we can, where do we want to, we can move it from another category. So you can see that there's still £24 left in groceries. So I'm just gonna cover it with groceries. And it will move those £2 from groceries. And now we're clear. So everything is looking good. Adam wanted to say something about an emergency fund. And we have an emergency fund that's fully funded. Do you want to say something about it?
Well, that's another principle of it, to say get for your emergency fund first, which is 3 to 6 months of living expenses that you don't touch unless it's a massive emergency. So
it would be a good thing to, it would be a good goal to have, to build up your emergency fund when you're working on a budget. So October is good. And then for November, we are here. And in YNAB, you can set savings goals of different types. So for example, tithe. Okay, so I'm gonna actually go and put this, we got paid, and this is going to go into, I'm just gonna say, it was on the 1st of November. It's going into to be budgeted. So now we have all of that salary to be budgeted. So I know that every month I want to I want to return tithe of about £210. And here I can save my goal that every month I want to put £210 towards this. So that's what this savings goal is, £210 monthly. There are other ones, for example, groceries is a different one. We have £22 left from last month, but my goal is I want to start out the month with £100. So it's telling me to start out with £100, I need to budget $77.90 more to reach that goal. And then there are some other ones like car insurance, tax, and MOT. I know I'm going to need that by July 2021, when all of that will be due. And it's going to be £1,000. So that's not something I can just pay for off the cuff. So I'm putting away every month, and it figures it out for me that I need to put about 89 pounds away every month to stay on track to meet that goal. So I'm ready for that. Then there's a similar one, holiday to Greece. I'm planning to go in May. Who knows if it will be open, but it tells me how much I need for that. And there are a few others. I'll go down.
We got emergency fund there. We also put dowry, or depending what we just thought maybe depending, some of you may have to save up to prepare for marriage that way. So we thought we'd put in, this one is fully budgeted, so it's already there. 1,500 is, I don't know if that's high or low or where that falls on the scale, but we just stuck that in there just in case that's something that some of you need to plan for. Oh no, it's not, it's only 30% complete because they've got to get 5,000. Anyway, but this thing, it figures it out. Then we've got youth events there. Amen. You got to plan for your NEC youth events and camp meeting, camp meetings coming up. So you got to plan for that as well.
And then down here, we also have, for us, we have a category called fun money. And we have Aiko's fun money and we have Adam's fun money. And just having a little bit of totally, I don't want to say free money, but like money where you're free to spend without any accountability in a way. Like if you want to buy ice cream with it, you can. If you want to save it up for an Apple Watch, that's up to you. You can just make your own decisions. And like, I can't tell Adam what to do with his, and he can't tell me what to do with mine. And so it gives a little freedom.
Amen. I bought M&Ms yesterday.
Okay, so for this, there's a kind of cool thing where you can just quick budget, and whatever's underfunded, I will just fund it, and it's funded. You can do it manually too. So now we have 121 pounds left to budget. So I just filled all of those savings goals, and as you can see, all my direct debits are now funded. I know I have enough in all of those categories, but then maybe I want to add a little bit to medical. I'll add 20 pounds to that because who knows what's going to happen to me. Maybe I need
clothing, a bit more clothing.
A bit more clothing.
Yeah, 30 pounds a bit, I guess you could go to add 10 pounds. Oh, you're being very generous.
Generous, yeah. I'll add 10 to gifts also.
Computer replacement, they cost more than 30 pounds. Put some in there.
Well, but mine is pretty okay. Yeah. Maybe some more for education. I think I need to chip away on the dowry, don't you?
20, put more than 20, put 50.
I've only got 51 left to budget this month. Don't you want some more fun money?
Sure.
Do you want to dine out or not?
Go to the chippy, £5.
Only 5? Okay. Anything else you want to fund?
I don't know, just do it quick. Let's move on.
Okay. And then maybe this 36 pounds left, maybe I want to put it to December's rent. So I'm getting a little bit ahead. Okay, so that would be what we do at the beginning of the month to get ready. And then let's say day to day, going along in my life and want to spend something. So we're gonna spend, we're going to spend something at Amazon. But what I want to buy at Amazon is like a bunch of books, but I only have 16 pounds and but what I want is to spend 20. But I realized I looked at my education category and there wasn't enough, but I thought, I think I'll give up some of my dining out money to cover it. So this is where the rolling with punches comes from. So I'm going to cover that with dining out. And then I'm in the clear. So that's kind of something you can do to move the money around. So that's how it works for, can you go to the keynote?
But like normally when we're out and about, we don't obviously use the spreadsheet. When we're out and about, we just use the app on the phone. You click add a transaction, and then you add a transaction through your phone and assign the category and where it comes from. These are some of the quick advantages. It syncs across your device. So when you're out and about and you're using your phone, I don't know if you can see this. When you're out and about and using your phone, you can just click add transaction. I don't know if that comes up and you just put it in on your phone. It's always accessible. You have saving goals of various types, and the scheduled transactions are the ones that
we went over that.
yeah. Free online classes, color flagging. That's a more high-tech thing. When, for example, if I'm doing a work expense, maybe I use the credit card for that, and I need to get reimbursed for that, I can flag it and then unflag it once I get reimbursed for that. So I'm not missing out on money that I should get reimbursed on that I haven't got reimbursed on.
There are great ways, like a lot of reports that you can run to really clearly see where your money is and where it's going. And also there's the customer support is fantastic. So if you have any problems, they will help you. There are free online classes, lots of videos, and it's also constantly being updated, improved, and there are some disadvantages as well. It can be a learning curve. You might have to do a fresh start and start from zero a few times just to get the hang of it. It's also not free, and Adam can attest that I am very cheap, so it takes a lot for me to pay for something, but I really believe that this is worth it for us. So you can get a free trial. If you're a student, you can get a whole year free. And also, if you're interested in trying it out, let me know and I'll send you a link. And if you decide it's for you, you'll get a free month. And also another disadvantage is there's no automatic import or like linking accounts yet for the UK, but they say it should be coming at some point in the future. I think some reasons for YNAB, it'll lower your money about stress. You'll learn how to not live paycheck to paycheck. You can have a plan for getting out of debt. It makes it really easy to make clear, informed choices about your money, and also align your spending with your values and what's important in your life, not just fritter it away on things that you don't really care about, and you can achieve your goals. Here are the places you can find out more about it. YouTube channel, there's a book, there's an audiobook, there's a podcast. Also, Nick True at Mapped Out Money on YouTube has a lot of great things. And then there are some Facebook groups and Reddit groups as well. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. So that's the three presentations that we have done. We've got so if there's any questions now, if you can either raise your hand and ask them, or you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and ask the question, or if you'd be more comfortable putting it in the chat box, then I will ask the question to whoever is the relevant person. So sure. So if there's any
chat to you individually.
Yeah, send the chat to myself, Adam, and I co-host. So any questions or okay, a question's come in. What is your approach for paying off debt? What is your approach for paying off debt? I'll share maybe something, then Craig and Farida and Wynny and Micah can just share maybe a few things that they've done. When we got married, we had a little bit of debt that we had to clear. I don't know, a couple of grand it probably was at the time, 2 or 3 grand we had to clear that we had. How do we approach it? Well, there's only really one way that we approached it, and that was to decrease our spending. And we were pretty hardcore. We pretty much ate beans and rice for a year, and that's no joke. We just cut down expenses, lentils, beans, rice. You know, I don't know. We didn't even buy hummus in the supermarket because that was a luxury. It was bread and Marmite or peanut butter. It was rice and potato curry. It was literally just staples, and that was it for a year. And we cleared our debt and we saved our emergency fund doing that. So we lived on the lentil and bean line for a year to get out of debt and to get our emergency fund. So it wasn't just out of debt. We did that to get our emergency fund, and we got that 6 years ago, and we haven't touched it since. But it's nice to know it's there, especially in these COVID days, that if the world blows up, we've at least got our emergency fund to fall back on. That's
Can I say another approach that can be effective is this debt snowball.
Oh yeah.
It might not be mathematically the best approach, but psychologically, so it's kind of starting with your smallest debt, most kind of achievable to pay down debt, and then paying that off, and then whatever you had been paying toward, like paying the minimums of everything, but then paying that one off, and then adding that payment to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and then hopefully like a snowball that gets bigger, then it will all get paid off. You can Google it. It's a thing.
Craig, Farida, Wynny, Micah, any tips on getting out of debt?
I mean, with the beans and the lentils, you had more than what Ellen White said, man. She said porridge and bread, you know, till you clear them. But we taking the same principle as well. Like, instead of going and buying the hummus, we'll just get a couple of tins of chickpeas and blend them down, you know, try and make it ourselves. So we've been really looking at, we're making our own bread. So when the COVID crisis started, it was difficult to get bread and it was difficult to get flour. So we ordered like huge bags of spelt seeds, grains, and we just got a good blender and we just blend it up, and Farida makes the bread from that constantly. So we had a stash of that left and it's still there for us. So the food,
Emergency food.
emergency food. But what we use as well, I know, and I'm saying this only if you know how to use them. So I've got several credit cards, but we keep the balances as zero as possible on them. But what we utilize are balance transfers and money transfers with the 0% offers that run over a long period of time. So we don't really pay percentage on the bills because if we have to clear anything, that's what we do. So an example would be the student loan, for example. Once you get your student loan down to a certain level, you can transfer it over to a direct debit option. But the minimum amount of a direct debit option could be like £50 that you have to pay every month. The problem is when you transition it over to the direct debit, if you're not working, you still have to pay the direct debit. Or they may say you can contact them and they'll transition it back over to your to your main salary or wherever it was coming from, so you can take a pause. But what I saw was if I did a money transfer, that would allow me to be paying less than the £50, and I was able to clear that. Take it over to the credit card, I'm paying less with no interest on top, and it allows me to save money in different areas so I can eventually put it in and just clear it all off. So it was just about you need to know how to use the credit cards. They're like a habit. Yeah, don't use it for spending. Use it for clearing off stuff if you can. But you have, like it can't be, it's either the best of friends or the worst of enemies. Literally. And I've just figured out how to use them. We use them where needed, but we do our best to clear the debts as quick as possible. And what it does help with is getting your credit score up. So at the moment, our credit score is above average for the area, which is helpful. It does help in the long run. So we do that. Some other things that you think of?
No, because I thought mentioned a lot as well.
Yeah, the
so
food,
I think that's,
to save it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, just building on, I think my view is slightly different. We were really bad with a credit card.
It was our enemy.
It was really, really a nightmare. I'm not going to lie to you, because the spending just increased and the debt just increased, and it felt like a really dark hole. I'm not going to lie. So our way of clearing debt was to get rid of the credit cards and to say, never shall you see my house again. And then what we did is we just paid it off. We just chipped away. We just minimized outgoings, cut down on lots of luxuries and stuff. And we just basically made large payments and increased the payments to pay it off quickly. And then in addition to that, also we had a loan, and we basically paid that off as well by increasing payments and decreasing the luxury. So I guess the principle's the same for all of us, really. You never want to be in a financial dark place. And then also prior to getting married, if I can be transparent, I lived in my overdraft and I just saw that as normal, you know. But if you're over, and then I just kept on increasing my overdraft from £1,000 to £2,000 to £2,500 to £3,000 to £3,500. And I lived in my overdraft and I didn't see anything wrong with it. But the overdraft isn't your money. It's the bank's money. So when your salary comes in and it's not enough to clear the overdraft, there's a problem. And so, you know, Winnie's really, really good and stuff. She helped me a lot. We helped
each other, Babs, because I was a student living in my overdraft as well. So yeah.
Paid it off, and we said, no, we don't want to live in this at all. So that was the way we did it.
And we like are totally with Aiko and Adam's emergency fund.
Yes.
So every month we have savings and we have money that we put aside for on a rainy day, if the boiler breaks, if we need to get something fixed, we've always got that pot of money that's available just in case.
Absolutely. And I'm with you guys on the lentils and rice, because I could eat lentils and rice every day, like, you know, for a year. Winnie would struggle.
No,
but
my chest is too high, I'm sorry.
She would struggle, but I would eat lentils and rice and potato curry for a year. I wouldn't mind, seriously. I even said to Winnie, let's do it as a challenge.
We have 3 children to feed, that's my excuse.
Just a sack of potatoes from an Asian cash and carry, mate, might cost a couple of quid, you know, sack of dried lentils, sack of rice, and away we go.
Solid food, eh? There's been another question come in for Craig and Farida, just a quick one. What's the savings bank account that Craig and Farida use, and what package is included? Just quickly go. What was the name of it?
Yeah, it's NatWest.
Okay.
So we use NatWest. We had it from when we got married, which was a joint account as well. They gave us a number of options with it. And it just got upgraded from gold to platinum just over the years as we were using it. And because we were traveling yearly, the travel insurance that was included with the account was attractive for us. So we utilized that. And we have utilized some of the benefits in it. So it is with NatWest. Do some checking out, but do check the banks out first. Different banks offer different things. NatWest offered what we needed. So we used that.
The offers can change.
Say that again?
Sometimes the offers can change.
Yeah, they do. Because there was some offers on there that they actually took off. And but we weren't using those offers, so we were like, all right, it's fine. But
something else that we do that does fit us.
So
just shop around, actually. It doesn't have to be. Oh, right. I said just shop around a bit with the different banks and the companies out there and what they offer and how it fits your lifestyle. So, because that's what we actually did.
Adam, another question. Someone sent it to me privately. Says, is it not risky to have an only online bank? Like if your phone dies or no internet, you can't just turn up to a branch because there isn't one. Yeah, it's a good point. But the thing is, though it's an online bank, you have a physical card. So.
And it's not the only.
Yeah.
We have other accounts. It's just the account that we work with together. It's almost like, for example, Monzo also works great for us. When we go abroad, instead of me having to use my actual bank account, my bank card, and having to update my bank, I'm in this country and I'm in this country, because sometimes they block the card because they think it's fraud going on. So you can't constantly have to tell them you're going abroad. With Monzo, we don't have to do that. We can use the card abroad. I've just transferred the money into the card that I want to use there. So you still have, it's still best to have other main accounts or at least one main account on the side that you have your salary coming in or whatever, and just use the online bank as a budgeting method. That's what we're using it for.
Okay. I could just mention to me, thanks for that, Craig. There's also a series of workshops that I know is on Audioverse that is specifically geared towards maybe students or youth. That was done by Alistair Huang, there's a blog called Saving the Crumbs that you can find that has some other much broader principles that you'll find on there.
Really excellent information for any Christian Adventist. Philosophically, like how our approach should be different than the world's approach to money, just really solid principles and very practical and really understandable as well.
Any more questions, guys? Those of you who are here, you got any questions that have come up? Okay. Any saving tips when you have children, because everything is expensive, from clothes, food, toys? You have a specific way of saving money, but still providing comfort and luxuries as they need. Well, I guess all of us have kids here, so any savings tip, guys, for kids? You know, stuff is expensive with them. How do you save money?
Charity shop. Gumtree.
Yeah, we just bought. Hey, what's those shoes? Go get those shoes. Go get those shoes. We just bought Enoch this pair of shoes, man. And I'm jealous of him, because when I was a kid, I just had plain shoes that came from. Clark's would have been a luxury. Anyway, so I'm jealous of my own son. He's got a pair of Adidas shoes.
Ooh.
Adidas shoes.
Easy.
It is. Adidas.
Man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Man.
Yeah, it's all right, eh? Not bad. £6 with postage.
You know,
All right.
Jumps in the puddles with it, man.
£6 with postage. So anyway, eBay's your friend. I think, like, this. I mean, these probably cost someone 30, 40 quid brand new, and then he only got £3 plus £3 postage when he sold it on eBay. So, I mean, to be honest, I don't know if we've ever bought anything for Enoch brand new, hardly. eBay, Gumtree, Spock, whatever is our friend, and hand-me-downs. That's one of the things we do. I mean, I guess some things we do buy brand new.
We buy nappies brand new.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
I'd add, you know, what's the name of the application? Buying your things in bulk. If there's things that you need to get, you can probably get better deals if you get them in bulk, than food-wise, etc., than just buying them separately. So look for good warehouses and places that you can go to.
I look for at least for our little one. I look for when a season is just about to start and the other one ending, you get sale. So I generally buy Israel's winter things before the previous winter, and I buy a size up, and that's how I go. Because it's the same clothes, it's just for a better deal. They need to get rid of it before the new season starts, and it just helps to cut down on a lot of costs. So I and then it gives me time as well. You know, whilst he runs out of other clothes because he's growing, I get rid of the others, and then I still have new pairs of stuff waiting there without me buying it, and a lot of gifts he has. So we don't even get a chance to buy things, especially toys. We buy here and there, but I can't remember how many toys we actually bought for him. I can count them on my one hand, because they get gifts especially when they're young. And then again, he's not at the moment where he is in life. You know, when they're so young, they prefer more quality time and family time. That's really what they're into. So it's actually quite cheap, I think, at the moment. Unless you have multiple kids, then you actually do have to, budget differently. I come from a big family. It wasn't always easy, but we have one child, and it works like that for us. It's not as expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually also think someone told me once when I was a student that they never buy things full price. And I have to say, probably live by that principle. I've never bought an item of clothing that hasn't been on sale or from an outlet. And that has pretty much been what has like paid our kids. So like Adam, I didn't have any Nike trainers until I was in uni, and I used a bit of my student loan to buy some Nike trainers. Like, no, I had like Bike or whatever the other alternative for Nike is.
Fakies.
Fakies. Like I literally, and the kids are thankfully at that age where they still don't have like a high chest, and I hope they always live by that principle. But they know that, we will get our things from the outlet. There used to be a place in West Bromwich called the Nike Outlet Store, and that would literally be where all of our kids' footwear would be. And you would never pay full price on a pair of trainers, ever. And we tend to go to shops like that because when you've got 3 kids, we used to have the hand-me-down principle, but our kids wear out their knees and their shoes. They use them as brakes for their bikes. That we can't even hand stuff down anymore. So,
well, it's more our son that does that. He'll use his trainers as brakes for his bicycle, skid out the front. The girls aren't too bad, funnily enough.
No, their knees wear out, babes.
Yeah,
all of their jeans have holes in the knees.
But the reality is, there's like their dresses and smart clothes and things like that. They just hand me down. So they go from Jade to Janai, and they were fine. A lot of their t-shirts and clothes were really good, and we just constantly shopped around looked for sales. If there was a sale in Tesco's, for example, I'd buy some clothes. If there was a sale in another store, I'd just buy what I can and just save it. So sometimes I'd have clothes that are way too big for the kids, but I know in a couple years' time they'll fit into them. So it's worth it.
Yeah.
In the comments, Natalie mentioned Once Upon a Child in the US, which is a really great chain of used clothes stores for kids, store for used kids clothes, which is really, you can find some really great deals there. It's cool.
All right, any other questions, guys? Either ask yourself or put it in the chat box to any one of us, really. If not, we will.
So the names of the Alistair Wong's seminars on money. The first one he did was called Beyond the Tithe, Practical Lessons on Personal Finance. And then the next one was For the Love of Money, Biblical Lessons on Personal Finance. And both of them are really excellent. Find them on audiobooks.
Cool. All right, guys, I think that.
Can I add one point, Adam, as well? I was reading, and something that we've experienced ourselves. Don't be afraid to sell stuff that you might have. Don't be afraid to sell it. If there's things that that may be worth something, sell it. That will also go towards a budget as well and helping out.
You're wasting it in your home and not using it.
That's a good point. eBay, yeah. Yes, the recording will be available on YouTube. Yeah, it will be. So if you want to share the name one, it'll be on YouTube probably by tomorrow. All right, guys, that draws us to the end. I'm going to hit stop on the recording, and then actually let's pray. Pastor Micah, would you mind praying for us as we close?
Let's pray together. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for this great opportunity to do this budgeting program with Craig and Farida and with Adam and Aiko. I ask in a special way that you bless the couples. I thank you so much for blessing them with the ability to budget their finances. And I ask that you will increase all of our finances, Lord, and allow us to further your gospel. I also ask that you specifically bless people who may be struggling, Lord, who may be in financial debt and may be depressed and filled with anxiety, worrying how they're going to get out of this dark hole. But may you remind them, Lord, that your grace is sufficient. And you can give everybody the skills and tools that they need to get themselves into a better financial situation. So please bless each person, Lord, and continue to look after us. In your loving name we pray. Amen.
Amen.